Hi everybody, and welcome to a new series I'm running, which is a collection of tutorials and how-tos using the Neverwinter Nights 2 toolset, seeing as there appears to be a bit of an appetite for building out there, and some people perhaps want to look at some actual videos of it in action rather than just reading off a web page on how to do something. So I agree. I mean, back when I was learning, it probably would have been a good idea. So I'm going to attempt to show off how to do a few things in the toolset, and we'll kind of take it from there and build it up. I'll happily take requests as well, so if anyone wants to send me any queries or how can I do this or any suggestions on this, I will certainly try my best for you. Now, I am by no means consider myself to be an expert with the toolset, and it is one of those things in life where there are all kinds of ways of doing something, and there are always ways of doing something better. So I expect that there are probably better ways or different ways to do some of the things I'm doing, and I'd be very happy to know about them. Because the building in Neverwinter Nights, it is a collaborative experience, right down from using other people's hack files they've put together, other people's scripts, other people's models, that kind of thing, and there's exactly the same when it comes to the approach to building things. So by all means, please chip in, please share ideas or thoughts, correct me if needed, because believe me, I do make mistakes, and we can come out with a better starting point for new builders from there. And that's the main thing from this. I want to encourage builders. I also want to show people what Neverwinter Nights 2 is capable of, because I think the customization side is massively underestimated, and indeed some people aren't even aware it exists. So we want to get people playing mods, and we want to get people making mods, and this is my attempt to do that. And any and all support and sharing on that side is very much appreciated to help us get the message out. So I'm going to stop prattling, and we can now go to me prattling again, but about the toolset. And this here is the first screen you will see after a brief loading interval for the toolset. There are a few differences, as I have a number of plugins installed. Now, plugins are a very useful and recommended feature of the toolset. You can download them usually off the Vault or off Nexus, and they provide additional functionality to the toolset. As the toolset arguably probably shipped with a bit of a user friendliness problem, or ease of use problem. So the purpose of these plugins is to do things either the toolset wouldn't do for you before, or to speed up or simplify something it already did but it was problematic to do in the first place. So just to briefly talk about the panes that you'll see at first. So the arrangement may be slightly different, but in principle it's all the same. So you'll have a left-hand pane here, and that is all the resources available in that in the module file that you have open. So it splits into various tabs. So this will list your areas, and then this pane, once you have an area open, this will list the area contents. Scripts, all the scripts pertaining to this module, of which there are none at the minute. Campaign scripts is to do with if you have a series of modules, you can link them together using campaign mode. That is something that I may touch on in the future if someone asks me to touch upon it, but clearly in my work, so I use campaigners. I always have a collection of modules, so all these scripts are all sort of global resources that I can just plug in and use in any module I care to use. So things that need to be the same throughout, essentially, so like crafting systems, things like that. So don't worry if that pane's empty, it will be at the start. Campaign conversations, just like with campaign scripts, these are sort of globally available scripts available across a collection of modules that you group together. So again, these are some of my crafting pieces and testing dialogue there as well. But again, this will be empty. This one will also be empty at the start, and this is conversation files which are specific to the module that you have open. Okay, and that was that pane there, and we'll be using that in building to refer and look up things as well, or quickly find a resource. This big blank pane in the middle is the renderer, so whatever you are happen to be looking at, so an area is open or a file's open, this is where it'll be displayed. This panel, and to be fair, I cannot remember the default setting if it's actually plugged in underneath this right hand pane or not, but either way you will have a properties pane, and I like to have it dragged out so I don't like having to squint at all the information, so I just like to have it out in the way. But this is properties, so whenever you have something that you are looking at, maybe in the renderer or selected in here, it will spit out for you all the information pertaining to that object. And in here we have a tabbed selection which is tiles, so for tile-based area building. We have blueprints, where all the blueprints for your module and indeed your campaign, if it's a collection of modules, are all linked in there. Being as I obviously using my campaign, so my campaign folder is full of hundreds of items I've got in there. Module being specific to your module. Global meaning absolutely everything, so I'll say absolute, so that's correction. Global being all the official content, so these are the ones that shipped with the game. And all is, as I was about to say then, got it wrong, all the global content plus anything for your module and plus anything for the campaign. There's a lot of stuff to search. I recommend the filter box. I could put in spear and I get anything with the word spear in it, which is speed things up, and we'll be using that. And terrain is when we're building exterior areas, we will be needing this to mold the terrain, raise and lower, add bumpiness, smooth things out, force walkable and non-walkable areas, flatten, etc, etc, etc. So everything controlling that is all in there for exterior building. At the top we have a collection of buttons to help us with viewing areas and things like that. So we can activate grids, we can look at the walk mesh, which is very important. We can disable shadows while we're viewing things, water, etc, etc. The sky, what time of day we want it to be in the renderer. We can even run the day-night routine in the renderer. We can decide if we want to hear sound and music. We could, yeah, you get the idea. I think it's quite straightforward. And these little panes here also very useful if we need to suddenly get into a different mode, select an object, paint an object, etc. But these generally automatically change as you're going along. Occasionally you will need to use one of these to do what you need to do, but I will come to that because you will see me doing it. Set your start location for the game, very important if you just slapping a quick area together. Painting spawn points is to do with encounters, we'll come to that. And create transitions, so some of these are coming from the plugins I'm using. And this bar here is also all created by my plugins. And I'll briefly go through. If I hold this down for a minute, these are the names of some of the plugins I'm using, and if you ever want to pause on this bit and just type some of these into Neverwinter Vault or Nexus, or just into a search and look for some of these plugins, I heartily recommend getting some of these. Now I believe these 2, 3 come with the game. Create Placeables plugin, that one is worth searching for. So it's a more user-friendly way of creating new placeable objects rather than edit copying something that's already in there. Creature Creator, again, it's a much more user-friendly way. The way the game shipped, creature creation was a pain in the arse, and also prone to crashing the toolset as well, certainly for me anyway. So Creature Creator, Create Placeables, absolutely recommended. Neverwinter 2 Mapper, that is a way of, if I recall, creating an area by grid like this. Personally, I mean, I got it down, it seemed like a good idea, but then, I don't know, I didn't go through with it in the end. I just started just doing it myself manually. But it looks like an interesting tool and it might be of interest to some people, so have a play with that. I can't really tell you an awful lot about it, but I'm guessing it's It's kind of straightforward, but my brain for some reason doesn't like it. Right, advanced script compiler. If you're doing programming, you know, you're writing your own scripts a lot, then I would get that, because it is more informative when it is compiling and checking for errors. You get much better feedback with that. Power bar, definitely get that. It basically adds more of these options here for quick searching. You can look up objects, areas. It allows you to do a few tasks a bit faster. And yeah, so with all your files, you can get to them a little bit faster than you can. So going through these left-hand panes here. So that's recommended. Randomized trees. That is, I love randomized trees. It saves you a lot of time. Essentially, when you finish placing all your vegetation and animated or sort of trees down, by hitting randomized trees, what it will do, well, there's no trees in the area so it can't do it, it will apply a percentage scale increase, so to change the size or dimensions of the tree within some boundaries you can specify, and it will also apply a random seed to a tree, which is like a random appearance. So trees can have millions, if not more, different appearances, from just a little extra branch to the tree curving in a different direction. But it really is very much recommended for your exterior areas or anywhere you've got vegetation, because it just breaks it all up and makes it look, you know, different. You know, it's very easy to be conscious when you're building that. Oh, my trees look the same. Get that plugin. You'll really appreciate that one. Syn plugin, I believe, is more bars. I think some of these are Syn bars. I think some are power bars. But please correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I installed them. Soundset editor, I think, came shipped with the game. I haven't actually used that one. Spell checker, I always need that because my spelling is atrocious. Well, I do a lot of typos, and yeah, thankfully the spell checker does pick them up. Only thing to note is when you do run the spell checker, it has a tendency to only spot genuinely incorrectly spelt words. So if the word doesn't exist in its dictionary, it'll flag up. If it's a typo where you've you've typed a different word instead of the one you wanted, it won't pick that up at all. So it won't check for logic in sentences, it's just spelling. But get it, and you can run it. The encounter data, I haven't actually used that one, but I've got it. It was recommended to me. I've got it just in case I will give it a go. That was already there. That was already there. The shop wizard, I haven't actually used that one either, so I'm not sure about that one. World map editor, I have had a look at it, but I haven't used it properly, and that is quite an advanced tool, I think. YAT, that is if you want to import height maps from an external source, and I have done this once or twice, and it can get some interesting results. Maybe we'll look at that one day, but it is good if you want to import a height map and save you moulding the terrain yourself. If you've already got a good map of an area thought out and you've found a height map for it. Legends AI, I haven't actually got that enabled properly at the minute. We may come to them, but there is a good section of videos available for that, which I'll try and remember to link into the description. And item creation wizard, I think I have used that one before, and that is quite a good one actually. Yes, so yeah, I have used this before, and it is certainly good. It's again a user-friendly way of creating your own items, so I recommend it rather than the default way. So that is the list of plugins. So by all means pause that and try and track some of those down, because they'll be really useful to you. So I think I've talked long enough about plugins. I think it's time we actually did something useful, so let's try and get off this now. So we've had a very quick look around the toolset, some of the windows and some of the settings on it. I didn't want to delve into them too deeply just now, because I think the best way of learning the toolset for me was learning as required going along. So if I needed to do something in particular, I would go and find out and look into that. And there's great resources available online The BioWare Neverwinter 2 forums, which I'll link at the bottom of this video, is a perfect place to ask questions, and also look for answers to that question, because often there are some threads for commonly asked questions and so forth. And of course, with this video series, by all means send me questions or requests as well, and I will do my best to answer those through the video. Obviously, if it's a quick, simple response, I can always type one, but I will do my best to actually show you the solutions in action. So that's enough talking, and what we'll do is we'll get straight on with it, and we will start by building an interior area, and we'll take it all from there. We'll build it up piece by piece, perhaps answering questions and queries as we go along. The module that we're actually working in, rather than me just putting together a simple how-to module of random bits and pieces, I thought the best way to do this would be doing it using a sort of a live project. So this module is actually part of a future project. It's kind of a back burner project, but it's one that we're going to be more actively looking at once the campaign series we're working on is out of the way. And this module is known as, at the minute it's called, where are we? Moonstone. I always work in directory mode as opposed to module. There are two modes you can work in. If I were to save as, I could turn it into a module file if I wanted to, but I don't do that. I use if I save now, it'll be as directory, but you can save your module first time as directory. Now, in my experience, this is hotly debated, but in my experience, saving in directory mode is more stable than module mode. In the past, I've had problems with module corruption or various issues, more crashes, that kind of thing. Now, by saving directory mode, what it does is your module is then saved up into a folder format, and it's very handy then because you can actually go into that folder and find individual files. If it was a module file, you wouldn't be able to do that. So if I open up my Neverwinter Nights 2 folder, go to my modules, where are they? It always takes me forever to find it. There it is. They're all in a folder format. Now you might notice the Internet Prince game is in module format there. It's actually, I can't do anything with that from here. Now if I was to open one of the folders from the Umbral Abyss, for instance, UA1, Chapter 1, I now have every single resource related to that. I can click on these and it will tell me all of them. So conversation files, DLGs, they're all there, and I can, if I want, copy that out and move it into another directory, and that way I can quickly move my resources around. So it's convenient, and it's also a bit of peace of mind for me. So anyway, we're going to go into area building next. So to get a new area added to your module, it's a very simple process. We can go to File. I'm going to go by the standard default routes, just so people who don't have the plugins can go straight in. So it's New Area, and straight away we have a new area wizard, at least in the toolset, and you can specify what you want initially from here. It's going to be an interior area, which means tiled terrain. And then an area, you can change this tag at any time, so it's not a burning issue whether you get it right first time, but we're going to call it for now Sea Cave. I'll call it Sea Cave 2 because I do have one in already, but that was there's nothing actually there, it's just a blank area. Hit next, and then you want to specify the size of the area. Now this is intended to be a small area. It doesn't need to be particularly large. It's a very small little sea cave. I always tend to go with a few extra tiles in size than I actually need, and then you can always cut it down later, but either way it's not too important. But yeah, we can go with 8 by 8. So like I said, you can change the size later if you need to. Finish on there. Get my tool set back. Where's he gone? There it is. Okay, so we have at the minute a blank tiled area. Now you may find when you first load your area, depending on what you've got enabled up there, you may have that, which is not an awfully good framework to start with, just a black space. So make sure you have occlusion grid enabled, and that gives you a grid of the boundaries of your area. Now for this module, obviously I already have a story planned, or the rough ideas of it all worked out. We know what areas we want and things, so all I'll be doing is following that plan as we work on various little areas and things, and I'll try not to spoil elements of the plot at the same time, but this is a very minor little thing here. So once you have your tiles up, you're going to want to hit the Tiles tab and choose a tile set. Now you can mix tile sets if you want, though certain tiles don't always work well with others. That's going to be a bit of a trial and error experience for you, as it has been for me, because I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what I've remembered. I tend to have to relive my mistakes as I go along. So we're going to need a sort of a cave interior here, so all natural looking. This lists all your tiles. Now a lot of the ones I've got on this list are through a tile sets project, where I can have all kinds of community tile sets listed, and then I can choose as to whether they're actually enabled or not. So most of these aren't actually enabled, but I have the option to activate them at a later date and get the tiles from that. So your list will be a lot smaller than this with the default tool set. But if you again look at some of the names here, and if anything looks interesting, type it in somewhere and investigate. Though I will put a link to this tile set project at the bottom of this video, because it is a fantastic project, and the amount of options it creates for you is immense. So we want caves, so we're going to click on caves, and what you'll then get is a selection of different kinds of tile. The first one is the name of the tile, so a floor with 4 little corners in it, for instance. You might have a hallway with a door, so they should also have a image of what it kind of looks like. So blue being solid wall, red being a door, and no lines on the side means it's open space, it's floor, so it'll need to be obviously finished off. Any little dots, blue squares, are a sort of a pillar or a corner connecting piece, and the tiles are kind of like jigsaws, so you will find that you'll need to have corresponding bits connecting up, or else you'll have holes in the wall and things. But once you've got your head round it, it's quite easy to work with. So we're going to go with cave to start with, and then we'll do some further modifications once we've got the basic layout completed. So for this sea cave, it's a very simple, it's a little entrance and a small sort of open space. So and it serves perfectly as an example for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a 2 wall. You'll be using that for most of your corners. You may want to use that one as well, but I think we won't be needing it right now. So if I drop this down, now you'll notice as well in the list is a number which is variations. Now variations are a number, they're different appearances of the same type of tile. So it's a corner, but if you hit the up or down keys, you will get the different variations. So it says 6 variations. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and we're back to the start again. So you can, once you've got the tile on the square that you want, you can just go through the different appearances, decide what you're after, and then just drop it down. Now it's a sea cave, so I'm thinking a bit of water is going to be needed. So this one has like a hole in it, which is good because I can kind of introduce water a bit earlier on. But I think actually for this one we'll put something a bit rocky in. We'll have that one there, and then we could put another tile down, perhaps a wall. That one looked alright. Again, we've got 7 variations for this one, so as you can see there's a few options there of what we can have. We're going to slap down this one, and then we're going to need a corner again, and this one I think we will go with the water, or at least the hole. I mean, it doesn't have to have water in it, but you get the idea. And then we can put the rest of the walls in. Now straight away, as you can see now, we need walls going this way, but the tile is facing this way. Now if you use your right mouse button, you can rotate the tile, as you can see there. So we'll put that in that way, and we'll choose a variation. That's a nice one. Well, a nice twisty turny cave here. It's very rough around the edges. So same again on this side, just rotate it again, and we'll take that one. As you know, we've used that over there. I don't like to overuse tiles if I can. There we go, I'll go with that one. And then we just need to get some more walls in. And you can spend a lot of time perfecting the positions of your tiles and things. I am working quite fast here. I normally spend a lot of time mulling over the tile choices. But do this a few times and you'll very quickly get a bit of a gift for it after a while. Is that the same as that? No, it's not. Okay, that's good. Okay, we now have some open floor that we need to attend to. So we'll have a look around. We've got open floor. Drop that in. 2 variations as well. This one's got a hole in it as well. I think we'll put that in then. We'll have another hole there. Now we've got open floor, but what we're going to be doing though is we're going to have a hallway down here, and I'll show you what happens if we don't use corner connectors here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put open floor down. Then I'm going to put a hallway in. For argument's sake, I'm just going to slap it down. And we'll hallway end, which will give us the end of this corridor here. Okay, looks like it's done, but we have a hole there and another hole there. And this is where the corner connectors come in very useful. So if you see this kind of issue with your corners, it means that you require a connector or a corner connector. And that's where these come in. So as I said, the little blue squares, we only need one there and we only need one there. So we need a floor piece, 2 corners, which will be that one there. And if we rotate with right mouse, we're covered up. Hit that down, happy days, and that's all sorted. So we have the basic layout of a small cave here, and this is, as I said, a very, very simple area we've got here, because as you can see there's all kinds of things, you know, doors, we have stairways as well, and obviously there is also in the tiles tab 4, once you've got your tile set selected, you can go to meta tiles and look for caves there. These are groups of tiles, so more than one tile pieces, and they contain all kinds of weird and wonderful shapes that you can drop in. So for instance, like a curve, you can have things like that in. You can have a diagonal, have forks, passageway with a nook in it, large corner for big rooms, and there's as it says trap, it's like a set piece from the Mask of the Betrayer, which is huge, it's enormous. But yeah, for what we're trying to do here, this serves perfectly, and you know, explore the tile sets is what I can say. Have a good play around with them, look at different combinations, and you'll come up with some fantastic ideas. But for the purposes of this module and this particular story and the needs of this area, this is the size and pretty much the look of what I require. So that's tiles laid out. That was easy, wasn't it? And what we'll do next is we will show what some third-party customizations will allow me to do with the color and even the texture of the tiles as well. So bear with me.